FPO system.
Oh yeah?
And they gave it to me for free.
Nice.
So I knew something's going wrong today, you know. We're gonna be in shit trouble. Where you gonna sit?
I might have to stand.
Huh?
I might have to stand.
Yeah, so we should move this chair probably out. Huh?
Yeah.
Or maybe even take the table out and everything, huh?
for Sydney United is obviously Vedran Janjetovic's second appearance at the club since his second stint, of course, so big thing to watch out for him in goal. But as well, Luke Zavella getting the start as well for United in place of Antelmi. That's an unchanged note from the weekend as well, but he has big shoes to fill. And then you look at the Tigers, this attack is so dangerous. Powerhead, especially up front through Kai Denton. That's going to be a real player to watch up there.
Well, how about this for a statement of intent to kick things off? They have 8 players lining across the halfway line. Northern Tigers will kick off the game here. And we mentioned Luke Zavella, but Paddy Antelmi, I mean, at the moment, I'm sure he's tuning in from the beaches of Dubrovnik and enjoying his honeymoon, and we congratulate him on his wedding and his marriage. But he's enjoying the beach. Instead, we've got to deal with the rain and the wind here at VSP.
Well, knowing Patrick Antelmi and his love of the big stage, I'm sure that maybe a small part of him might be missing out on tonight. Of course, he is very accustomed to success in this competition, but we're underway.
And we are underway. Northern Tigers kicking off from right to left. They're in the white and green stripes. Sydney United in their customary red kits. And they're on the ball early here. Opportunity for Spang. Gets cut out, and now United with their own chance to quickly go the other way through Jennings. We know much pace Leroy Jennings has, and that's a strong challenge, and the crowd applauds it as well. Oliver Scott getting stuck in nice and early. And we're going to expect some of those challenges, I'm sure, this evening.
Absolutely. I mean, plenty of spills and thrills. The wet surface, the rain hasn't stopped at all, and it looks like it's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Should make for a zippy surface as well.
Bailey Rule also turning out for Sydney United, a former Northern Tigers player, played a couple of years at North Turramurra. Now, of course, Sydney United home for about, I think, 4 years he's been here now. So how about that for a turn? And Spain couldn't take that in his stride, but Kai Denton, I mean, we talk about players that have left their mark on this cup run, and obviously the Northern Tigers also participating in their first Australia Cup as well. Kai Denton been a key part of that.
Sure has, Nicola. I mean, when you look at his goal record in the league, 18 goals across 21 games, I mean, that's a very efficient clip, and he's a big reason why the Tigers are top of that competition at the moment, and no doubt he would have been top of the scouting report for Sydney United 58 and Ante Juric.
And I think when you think back to that semi-final defeat, I think Apia perhaps took the Tigers a little lightly in that one. That front third is so dangerous, and as is United's. Close down there, Jennings, and we're not going to have our first corner of the evening. Just a throw-in for Sydney United. And just how potent in this is this front line for the Tigers. We see so many players able to find the back of the net for them. Just a moment there with a cross into the box, but a number of players. Jesse Spang has found the back of the net on countless occasions this year. Lachlan Lloyd scored that hat-trick to set up the semi-final game against Apia Leica. There's goals everywhere in this Northern Tigers starting lineup.
It sure is, Nicola. I mean, when you look at their run to get here, they went on a 4 straight consecutive run of scoring 4 goals in cup games, and then they scored 3 against Apia. So this is a real attack that is in good form as well. Yes, they've come off a loss on the weekend to the Jets, but I mean, they were still able to get 2 goals in that game, and they were just outpowered by Newcastle on the weekend.
And what do you think is key for Sydney United here? As you said, they've definitely scouted their opponents well. What do you think they need to watch out for most?
I think the key for United is using their experience and their success in this competition to their advantage. I think the tendency for the Tigers will be to play fast.
Intercepted there by Rose, has a look up, delivers into the area. It's a tough ball to deal with in this skiddy surface. And they'll start again through Scott. Out to Rose again, who's also been impressive. Very pacey player, and something the Northern Tigers have in abundance. A lot of pace in their squad. Here's Green. Crosses in toward Denton. Cleared away, and now Chabot. Ball switch there intended for Mason Wells. And we talk about players scoring goals. Mason Wells, what a season he's had for Sydney United so far.
Mason Wells, I mean, what hasn't been said about him already? He's, in my opinion, one of the best goal-scoring wingers in the competition. The end product he has at that position is up there with some strikers at the moment. That's how dangerous he is. And when he cuts inside especially, he can be so lethal on the edge of the area.
Rose forced to go back now, all the way to Scott. Nakano was an option, but they chose to go back to Rose, who miscontrolled. And I mean, we look at the crowd from our angle, and you viewers at home are seeing the same. For the weather we're getting here, you got to say the crowd's quite good here this evening.
It's a big turnout for sure. I mean, you have a lot of the Northern Tigers juniors and supporters are in that right part of the grandstand on your screen, and the Sydney United supporters on the left, and then behind the goals on the left-hand side. I mean, they're packed in there under the cover. Everyone's trying to get in where they fit in at the moment because there is not a lot of room. But it's good to see such a big crowd on a wintry Wednesday night.
Brown going strong in there, as did De Oliveira, and Brown coming off second best, but shaking it off, back to his feet. And I'm sure you remember fondly, last season we covered the Sapphire Cup final at this same venue, on this same pitch. Who came out victors there, Mr. Constantinides?
It was the Northern Tigers this time last year. Very similar circumstances, a club building on both ends of its program.
Intercepted there. Now Spain. Can the Northern Tigers break through Denton? He's 1-on-1 here, but they've recovered well. Bailey Rule has cleared away. It'll be a throw to the Northern Tigers. Here is Nakano. New signing at the Northern Tigers this year, been very, very good for them. One of the standout players in their squad. Such a comfortable player on the ball in particular, strong in the air. Not sure if you've got to see much of him this year, Will.
I've seen a bit of him. I mean, it's hard not to have seen it because he started all but one game for them in League One. He's been a key part of this Tigers team, which I think is well balanced in that they've brought in players, but there's a lot of familiar faces too, and I think that's all the makings of a good side. And I like how they've started. I think they've come out with a purpose. They're definitely not going to sit back and defend if these first few minutes are anything to go by.
Here's Wells. Rule makes the overlapping run, and a good challenge again. And, I mean, geez, Will, these are the games you love to play as a footballer. You get down and dirty and make sure you make some hard challenges. And Alex Brown there leading as a captain should. Sorry, he's the vice-captain, but getting in there strong and leading by example. Here's De Oliveira. Pass intercepted. Now Spain, and been a bit isolated, has Spain already early on, and a couple times now the ball's broken for Spain, and he's only had Denton in support, but Rule will go the other way now. Opportunity to cross for Wells. Low ball in, it's a shot and it's a goal. Luke Juvela opens the scoring. The youngster finds the opener, and Sydney United lead in the Waratah Cup final with their first opportunity of the game. 7 minutes in, and they lead by 1-0.
Luke Javella, feel your boots in, son. A good finish to start the first chance, and it's all it takes for United. They're a clinical side when they get going, and he stepped up in a big way. It was a well-worked move down the right-hand side, and then he calmly obliged with a finish from inside the area. Perfect start for United.
Well, that's what it is. These sides in the NPL competition, they have that much class that you give them just a little bit of space, they'll take it with open arms. And just as United did there, showed the Northern Tigers, every time they come forward, they better be prepared because they won't let chances like that slip.
It was by and large, Nicola, in fairness, a positive start from the Tigers. They've had a decent couple of looks on the ball. Spang and Denton, yes, have been isolated, but they've been getting involved. But it just goes to show you have to really be on your toes down the other end of the pitch, because when a side like United, a side battling for finals football in NPL New South Wales, well, this is a high-powered attacking outlet at the moment. And it's all down to the work of Mason Wells. We spoke about his goal scoring. This time he comes up with the pinpoint cutback.
Be a goal kick. The Northern Tigers won't even get a corner from that. They were hoping to at least have the opportunity. Won't present itself though. It's really, really windy here now. And the rain is getting a little heavier as well. Very difficult conditions. But it's a final, and you don't really complain when you get an opportunity to take part in a final game.
It doesn't matter how it comes, you've got to be on the big stage, even if that big stage is a little bit wet.
Here's De Oliveira. Chabal plays it forward for Milicevic, but misplaced pass and high press immediately from United. And the Tigers struggling to play out of there, and the ball goes out of play. I think that's what Sydney United's game plan will be, to put the Northern Tigers under serious pressure and try and force the error and not let them get into a groove, because you know if the Northern Tigers get in the groove, then you could be in a bit of trouble.
For sure. I mean, this is a side that is, as we mentioned, top of the table. I mean, 4th in goals scored. There's a lot of really big attacking sides, and the Northern Tigers are right up there in League One for good reason. And they've, so far, to United's credit, done a good job of keeping the likes of Denton and Spang, I think, frustrated so far. But these are players that will get a chance one way or the other.
And Mutton sends it forward. Has a heavy challenge on Denton, no foul. And now Wells goes forward with the ball. Has options wide in Jennings. Takes it on his own. Can score from distance. Seen it a couple times this year. But Jakub Preza defending well. And again, unable to keep the ball at all at the moment, the Northern Tigers, once they get it close to halfway. As Shabao gets in the box. Juvala the target. It's come off and kept in by Rose there. And Brody Denton in the end. But again, United showing how dangerous they are once they get the ball in the front third.
Yeah, they've come down this right-hand side a couple of times now, Nicola, and no surprise with the man that's occupying the wing, Mason Wells. He is arguably the most dangerous of
and the press works again. They've got the ball once more. Juvela cutting it back, but Preza there to cut out the pass, and Preza gets caught there. Again, the Northern Tigers unable to come away with the ball. Attempt at goal just over the bar. I think it was Aiden Milicevic with the effort. Brody Denton was most definitely worried there for a moment.
His press is starting to tick over now for United. Ante Juric will be very pleased that his side have continued to keep the foot on the accelerator against this Tigers team. I think the Tigers, it seems like they're on the ropes at the moment. They've got to find a way to get back into their rhythm, which they started so brightly with. But as we highlighted, it's, you know, maybe the occasion, the experience of United versus, you know, the relative inexperience of the Tigers perhaps gotten the best of them so far these first 10 minutes or so.
Kick sent long by Denton, and it was a good ball in the end, finding Rose. He didn't expect Matt Hatch to leave that, but got a note there. Brody Denton, intelligent in there to slow the game down. It's obvious that United are, at the moment, just a little bit of running over the top of the Northern Tigers, and has to try and break that momentum, and what better way but to slow the game down. Pass intercepted there. Throwing goes the way of Sydney United. Of course, Adam Hett not available for the Northern Tigers on the bench. We know how important he has been to the side and the growth of the Northern Tigers. How much can that affect the side, not having your head coach here?
I think it's a massive difference. I mean, you can ask Sydney United 58 about that, because Ante Juric was in and out of the touchlight earlier in the season with his A-League women's commitments with Sydney FC.
Here's a chance again for United. Jennings has crossed, this time blocked. First corner of the evening goes the way of the NPL New South Wales powerhouse.
I have to like a lot of what United are doing at the moment. They just seem to be playing the game on their terms.
They've taken it short here, catching the Tigers unawares. De Oliveira gets back on the left, has a go, blocked there and cleared away now. Bailey Rule first to the loose ball. Rule gets his head up. Central pass to Wells. Denton can't control again. United forcing the error, but here's Spang now. And again, not a lot of options available for the Tigers. Denton has to go his own. Well defended by Glassick, and it's a free kick in the end. That's a bit of frustration there, starting to creep into the Northern Tigers.
Good defending by United, but part of it is down to how they're playing in possession. Because they're keeping the ball so well, it's pinning back the Tigers. And when Denton and Spang broke loose there, I mean, they only realised it was the two of them, and that all they had to do was try and hold up as best they could. And Denton, I think, a bit of frustration there, recognising he was outnumbered.
Ball over the top for Juvela, who's stayed on side. Cross came Scott to make the challenge and clears away now. Juvela got a bit of height on him as well. Definitely a nuisance up top for Mutton and Scott. Now, got to deal with his heights, and obviously can finish as well.
Well, as they've already found out through these early doors, and we'll see how the Tigers respond. I think trying to stave off this next 5-10 minutes or so. It looks like the dominance of United will continue for a little bit.
Cross block there, throw in. And I think that's the problem for the Northern Tigers. They would have liked to have held out for at least 15 minutes, let the game settle. They weren't able to, conceding after only 7 minutes of play. Would have hurt them. And they've got to recover now. They've got to show a bit of steel, which they have. They've been behind. They were behind against RPS, scored 2 late goals to come away with the 3-2 win there and earn their spot in the grand final as Wells gets on the ball again. Milicevic, central for De Oliveira. Early pass forward, Mutton clears away. United keeps the pressure on again.
This game being played almost exclusively in the Tigers' half at the moment. Wonder how much they're going to be able to hold out. United at times this season have been inconsistent within games. They've had more chances where you look back at certain games where they might have dropped points. So there are avenues back into this. It's not all doom and gloom for the Tigers. There's plenty of ways for them to get there, but they've got to find a spark.
Ball sent forward, Glasic sends it back. Here's Juvela now. Gets the ball back for Wells. Well defended this on this occasion.
You can see from United, they're looking to go wide and get wide early.
And it's, as you said earlier, trying to really isolate Wells. He has been their go-to player this campaign, and he's shown exactly why this early on. Here's Vlastelica. De Oliveira plays it out wide for Wells. Rule overlapping. Rule wants it played. He gets it back. This is how the first goal came. Cut back. This time Denton punches away. Danger not clear yet as De Oliveira. And again, United just quicker to the ball on a couple occasions already. They seem a little hungrier, which is surprising, knowing how the Tigers play generally. In the box again, shot block there. And again, the Northern Tigers look to break, but not enough players forward. Searching for Denton, who gets there ahead of Glasic, now trying to get into the area. Is this a chance for the Tigers? Denton across goal and off the chest of Vlastelica. Calls from the Northern Tigers faithful, but clearly off the chest. And that's a bit encouraging there for the Northern Tigers.
That's exactly what they needed to do. They just waited for Kai Denton to make a good run in behind, and they found him. It wasn't about rushing. It was about recognising that they had possession, waiting for the right option to materialise, and when they found it, Denton just needs a little sniff in the final third to make something happen, and he almost did.
And you saw there, as soon as the Tigers were able to get just that one extra player up into the final third, it opened the game up slightly more for them, and I think that's what they need to do. It's going to be a lot of work for the likes of Spang and Rose, but they really need to get up in support of Denton to try and create a bit more space for the number 9. They've come away with it here, United. A shot from distance, but Denton will deal with that comfortably. There's a nice little run there from Leroy Jennings, Fiji international.
So
Green
won
back
the
for
Waratah
Nakano.
Cup a couple of years ago with United. I mean, not too many players still left from that squad. Only a couple of years ago. It's easy to think of United as an experienced powerhouse, but in these last couple of years, Nicola, they have undergone somewhat of a half rebuild. I think it's fair to say, bringing in some younger, fresher faces, the likes of Mason Wells, Bailey Rule at the head of that this season, Carlos de Oliveira, players like that. But his experience definitely key.
And I think the changeover of the guard it was always coming, and I think they've done it well. As Northern Tigers turn the ball over there cheaply in midfield, they can't afford to give the ball away like that. Here is Wells through for Rule again, who gets down this right flank once more across goal. Great challenge from Nakano. Another dangerous opportunity, and again, they're almost identical chances. Now space opens up for Wells. Good challenge, though, from Nakano once more. Denton trying to hold off Rule. Lloyd. Rose forward for Spang, but easily read there by Vlastelica. And now Shabao forward for Milicevic. That's better defending from the Tigers too, getting stuck in a little now, making a few important challenges. And Nakano getting too cute, losing possession. United's got a few players forward here. Wells cuts the ball in and Denton claims. And that's what happens. Again, another cheap cough up of possession and the Northern Tigers almost get exposed.
Yeah, it's all about breaking that first line of the press. Whenever they've done that, they've looked really good and more often than not found success getting into the attacking third. But when they haven't, things are very, very shaky.
Here's Lloyd now looking to turn away. Ball back for Spang. Spang somehow gets the ball out to Rose. Rose crosses in. There's a decent ball into the area and Vedran Janjetovic gets his first touch of the game. It's taken quite a while as well.
Yeah, it's been a bit quiet, Vedran. I'm sure we'll be hoping for more of the same. A tough loss on the weekend against former Waratah Cup winners, the Northwest Sydney Spirit.
20 minutes played in this one, and Sydney United lead by 1-0. Luke Juvela, the scorer. Here's Brown, and that's a big challenge there from De Oliveira. They need Brown on the ball more. Good ball now, searching for Denton, who brings it down well, plays it forward. Might break here for Lloyd and cleared away. You just want to see the Northern Tigers get the ball in those attacking thirds a little more. They make fantastic triangles in through the middle. That's how they generally break their teams down in the League One competition. They haven't been able to do so as yet, but I'm sure you'll be able to see that soon enough. If they're able to do that, their movement through the middle of the park is quite dangerous and quite good.
Yeah, you get the sense that they've been slowly progressing towards a chance coming their way. It has taken a bit of time. Yes, they're down on the scoreboard, but as each minute goes by, they're finding a bit more success, and now they've got a bit of controlled possession, which they haven't had all that much of.
And this man needs to get on the ball more. Alex Brown, very key to a lot of their build-up play and what they do moving forward. Hasn't really been getting involved in this first half of this first half. Rose battling away and managing to keep the ball. Mutton. Nakano picks it up square. First time pass from Green, but Lloyd let it run for Denton. Milicevic. Shabao. Quarter ball from Mario Shabao. Mason Wells now. Thought about the cross. Cuts it back for Bailey Rule. Rule's got a lot of space here. His pass is blocked. Back for Wells again. Peppering the edge of the area here. United now. Milicevic clips it across goal. Headed away. Again, first to the ball is United, but the breaks now for Denton. Searching for Spang, who couldn't quite control it. Tricky conditions. When the ball skids up at you like that, always difficult to bring under control.
It's not bouncing a lot at all. You can see the ball. It's very flat, very skiddy.
And the rain, in fact, picked up as the game kicked off. It was
worse.
Quite light all up until kickoff. And once the cameras came on, it decided to get a little wetter. Here's Glasek, square for Vlastelica, the two central defenders keeping possession. And Mario Shabao made the move to Sydney United, caught a lot of people by surprise. And how have you seen him fit in out of Denzer Park?
He's been in and out of the squad at times, Mario Shabao. Obviously, injuries have played a part in that, but when he has been in the squad, he's been a real joy to watch. You can see why they signed De Oliveira and Shabao during the season, because the prospect of those two playing consistent minutes together is a very tantalising one for United. And so far, it's gotten them a lot of control in midfield.
United in possession again. Once more, the press forcing the mistake. This time, the Tigers will get the ball from a throw-in, but again, deep inside their own half. They've struggled to keep possession in their opponent's half, and this is why some challenge there. Wells now goes for goal, but strikes it wide. Should have done better there, you'd say.
Mason Wells, I mean, that's the kind of area he loves to operate in. Edge of the area, just a touch inside in that kind of directly in line with the post sort of position, and he just sprayed one there uncharacteristically, and I think Tigers will be minded not to give him a second look at that.
Well, maybe we've just been treated to too many special goals from Mason Wells this year that we expect him to every time at least hit the target. And they've given it away again. Shabao, his pass is cut out. And again, miscommunication there between Nakano and Green. And it's just too easy for United in the middle of the park at the moment, really coming away with the ball comfortably. Here's De Oliveira.
This midfield three of De Oliveira, Shabao and Milicevic have just been working like an engine through this first period.
Here is Shabao looking for that run of Mason Wells, and you feel as though it's something that the Northern Tigers will definitely have to address at the break if they can go in at 1-0 down, because this right side of Sydney United has been quite dangerous so far throughout this first half.
It has been, and look, 25 minutes gone, still 20 minutes to go. There's a long way to go before we get there, but to their credit, the Tigers, I think the last 5 minutes or so, they've found a bit more of a foothold in this game. They've defended a little better. Nakano has been making some impressive challenges in particular, but the next step is getting this front third action going.
Ball back all the way to Janjetovic, who's almost closed down there. Cleared away, and maybe that's a bit of rustiness from Janjetovic, but it won't matter because United now on the counter. That's good defending from Scott. Early ball forward now for Spang to chase, but Vlastelica clears that one onto, well, I thought it was headed for field 2. Held up in the wind. Ball back for Praiser here. Now Nakano. Tigers just calming things down. Haven't had possession for long in this game, and look at United creep forward. As soon as the ball went back, they were stepping forward immediately. That's the press they're going to put on, and if they can hold out doing that for 90 minutes, it's going to be a long, long night for the Northern Tigers.
For sure, and I mean, the pressing triggers so far have been on point. United have been very well organised defensively. They've come up with a game plan, and through 25 minutes, they're executing it so far mostly to perfection.
Looked a high foot there, but no whistle comes from the man in the middle, Ivica Čović. Rose with the throw for the Tigers on the far side. Ball played back in. Here's a chance now. Denton, kind of areas he likes to be in. Gets it back for Green, who goes for goal. And first sight of goal for the Northern Tigers, and it was not too far away at all.
Yeah, much better from the Tigers, and it just starts with a simple throw-in on the far side. Just a bit of field position, getting themselves into the final third, working it around the edge of the area, and a half-decent look at that as well. They'll take a lot of enthusiasm from that opportunity that they can generate a few more.
And I think that's what it is. It's just they need to get the confidence flowing throughout the squad to start creating opportunities. They've got the quality to do it. Everyone knows that. Everyone, in fairness, has said that. Well, everyone that I've spoken to have said they feel like the Northern Tigers could spring a surprise here. They just need to believe that little bit more as Denton looks to play the ball out for Rose, but well defended from Matt Hatch. And now Jennings going the other way for United. Running at Scott, looking at his options, and goes direct at goal. Shot blocked by Mutton. He gives away possession. Juvelak, and Scott again gets back. Good defending from him.
The flip side of the coin for the Northern Tigers, yes, they're getting forward, but now United's counter-attack starts to become threatening. You look at wingers like Jennings and Wells. These are guys that love to get out and isolate defenders in open space.
I feel as though Jennings and Wells both have been staying quite high. They haven't really been dropping back as this corner is delivered. It's a good ball toward Glasek. Falls for Juvela, and he got that all wrong there. It was a good position for him to get a strike at goal, and you feel if that was goal on the target, at least it was goal bound.
Yeah, you would have backed him from that sort of range, especially the form he showed tonight. He had a decent look from close range and just couldn't get the connection. I think if that's on target, like you said, Nicola, that's going to cause a bit of problems.
Goal kick for the Northern Tigers. They get away with another one. Headed away. Green had the best chance so far for the Northern Tigers in this one. Brown gives possession away. Juvela back for Shabao. Options arriving through Matt Hatch, who loves to motor down the left, has a go with the right, but easy for Brodie Denton. And we've seen a lot of Bailey Rule getting forward, but Matt Hatch is probably the best left back in the MPO competition. And we haven't seen him go forward once yet.
I know, he's been kept away hiding over on that far side. He's very pacey. As a lot of defences would know, just seeing him charge forward is such an exciting proposition for United. And that's why they've been so good this season, because Rule and Hatch fit so well that at times they're getting just as many touches in the attacking third as the wingers. And
do you think that's got to do possibly with the pace that Connor Rose has as well on that right side, that he's been just told just to stay at home for a little?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a cup final. You have to play. Yes, United have been playing very positive, very proactive football, but there is a bit of caution still needed and a lot of respect shown to this Tigers attack.
Nice little pass there from Rule for De Oliveira, who saw Matt Hatch, and Hatch's first touch is good, takes him well in front of Rose, and he almost got it back there. Just as we had said, we hadn't seen him too much in the front third. He gets involved immediately.
Good challenge there to deny him, but again, this time it wasn't necessarily him bombing forward out wide. He makes more of an inside run, and again, that's the benefit of having someone as comfortable going forward. I mean, as a winger, he was playing in the A-League at times, causing defences trouble there, so he's more than comfortable in those positions.
Another corner now, goes short this time to Shabao. Return pass, cross comes in, good ball into the box. Nakano strong in the air though, and Spain can't lose it there. It's a dangerous area. Denton, good feet from Kai Denton, and he's released Rose here. This could be a chance now for the Northern Tigers. Denton trying to get forward, but perhaps Rose should have held on to the ball a little bit longer.
Yeah, I reckon 1 or 2 seconds more from Rose, and Spang and Denton would have been in much better positions. But again, that's all it takes, a small spark in midfield from Denton, and they were away.
And Spang wanted that ball played earlier from Rose, but perhaps mixing the two passes up. The last one should have been delayed slightly. This one maybe played a little earlier, but again, it's better from the Northern Tigers. We need to see more of that. We want them to make a game of this final. As Rule bursts forward now. And Wells back for Milicevic. Oh, what a ball from Milicevic. The delightful pass for Jennings, and Brodie Denton with the save, but some ball from Aiden Milicevic.
Honestly, Nick, that's one of the best passes I've seen all year, and we're 2/3 of the way through the season. The way he was able not just to find him in range, but it fell to his feet right at the perfect moment. No tricky bounce, was put in a perfect position for Jennings, who I think maybe was caught off by the quality of the pass and the fact that it got to him, because he just couldn't get out of his feet at the vital moment.
Maybe it's the ball. Du Bois, the official sponsors of the Waratah Cup.
It's too good of a ball.
Cross comes in now. Toward the far post, Denton under pressure, does well to get a punch away, and Rule goes on a volley, and it wasn't far away. A good sight there for Bailey Rule.
It's not a bad look from Bailey Rule. I mean, he has been in some goal-scoring touch this season. He's got a brace against Sydney FC in a dramatic win a couple of months ago, and when you get forward as much as he does, you find yourself in on the goal-scoring sheet a couple of times.
I think he's got a few in the cup as well, so
yep.
Been finding the back of the net on both fronts, and Sydney United got a cup tie to look forward to, and just entertain us, Will. Who does Sydney United have to face in the Australia Cup round of 32?
Well, would you believe it? It's the Northern Tigers. We are blessed with this game, not once, but twice. It is going to be at Leichhardt Oval in a couple of weeks' time, so if you're interested in seeing that one again, I'd strongly recommend it, because this one so far has delivered a very interesting affair, and we're far from done.
It's a shame that it's at Leichhardt Oval, that it couldn't have been at North Taramara, but there's obviously little to no stands at Taramara, and understandably it had to be moved from there.
Well, to be fair, Nicola, we've had North Taramara-like conditions tonight, so
That's
I think we might have made up for that.
Very true. Although we do have a commentary box as Milicevic has an attempt that goes just wide. Well, at least there's a scaffold here at VSP. Not one that our cameraman's too pleased with, but we'll have to deal with what we got.
It's all part of the magic of of a tournament like this to have a cup final. Not just digging in for the players, but for everyone involved. And it means more seats over on the far side for the crowd, that we're not taking up unnecessary space. Well, some would say unnecessary.
Good ball forward by Shabal for Militric. Wells and Militric can combine now. Militric in the last couple minutes of this one has started to get a little bit more involved, shown his class as well. And like you said earlier, Will, I think the midfield of United has dominated this game so far, and that's where the difference is at the moment.
I think they've sensed that we're going to have more of the ball as well, because when you look at the composition of the midfield, De Oliveira, Shabal and Milicevic, those are three guys that want to have it quite a lot. And then you have Glasic at the back, who is also comfortable playing in midfield. No Tomilic in the side either, so...
Speaking to Juric pre-game, Tomilic, a tactical decision to leave him out of the squad this evening. So the ball gets played forward and finds the feet of Juvela. And Jennings has stayed on side here. Keeps his feet as well. Attempt at goal, takes a deflection. In fact, that was Shabal that made the run forward. Jennings had the second attempt, and Jennings has had a few shots blocked now in this game. And Northern Tigers got to be careful if he gets one off. He's really feeling the shot this evening.
Yeah, the Northern Tigers, they've had to scramble defensively. I mean, this overlapping runs on the wing for Sydney United are just proving too much to handle right now. It's causing a lot of problems. All these numbers bombing forward.
Corner comes in again. And Glasic, they went with the leg, and shot comes back, but it's well wide of the target. Nothing to worry about for Brody Denton. Ten minutes to go till the break. And the Northern Tigers, you feel, just need to get into half-time, at least at this scoreline, as Militric breaks through, and that could be a yellow card. And he's thrown the ball away as well. Is he lucky there to escape a booking, Will Constantinides?
I think he's the beneficiary of the first offence, I think. You know, only first foul of the game for him. But again, it's Nakano just getting stuck in. I mean, they're hoping, I think, the Tigers, that some of their defensive solidity, yes, they've ridden their luck a little bit with some of these deflections, but if they can use that as a foundation, as they've done a little bit, I think what United have done is they've recognised that the Tigers have been getting forward, and they've stifled that these last few minutes.
And Brown plays the ball centrally here for Spang. There was a bit of miscommunication between both Spang and Lloyd, as Nakano plays it wide for Green. Praiza. Forward pass, finds the feet of Lloyd, but a cross came ruled to help and cleared away for a throw-in. Good field position now for the Northern Tigers. An opportunity perhaps to maybe get a strike and goal and force Janjetovic into some sort of a save. It will be a long throw as well.
Yeah, this is what you want to do in these sorts of conditions.
Let's see what they can come up with here. They've sent the big men forward as well. The wind may play a problem here, though. It did seem as though the wind there did cause that to be brought a little short.
Yeah, for those at home, the wind is actually blowing towards us, which is against the throw.
They've tried to go long again, and obviously a tactic they should perhaps reevaluate. Mutton. Bit of space on that far side, and you feel that they need to get the switch out earlier, the Northern Tigers. Here's Rose.
One thing United have done well is limiting their options getting forward. I mean, it's forced a great crossfield switch like this to get through them.
Well, that's what they need more of. That space is there. They're trying to get the left and right backs higher and wider as Lloyd looks to drive forward. Good challenge, though. It's a throw for the Northern Tigers. I hope they don't go long this time, Will, because it hasn't worked in the last two attempts.
Well, it looks like they might be lining up for it again, and look, they've got to keep battening down the hatches on Janjetovic's goal. He's been called into action a couple of times, but he hasn't really been needed. He's watched a couple go off target.
Throw comes in. It's a little bit better there, and it may fall here to one of the Tigers, but cleared away by Sydney United. Now Mutton. Denton wants it back. Now the run comes from Rose, but choose to go to Praiser. Nakano. The first time that United hasn't really put the pressure on this back line of the Northern Tigers. And Juvela working hard left and right, trying to block the passing passageways. Intercepted pass there. Tigers get the throw.
Kickoff United defensively has been picking their moments, I think, and they've picked their moments almost to perfection with how this press has looked, and the Tigers have found a little bit of a way through, but
here's a chance potentially now. Cross comes in and they get a corner here right in front of the SUS, the Sydney United fans, and wouldn't they love to score a goal at this end now?
Back, I think the wind will be a bit more in their favour this time around. Get the tall timber into the box, try and cause a problem with the wind, the wet. There's a lot of factors at play for a potential set-piece goal.
And the Northern Tigers, a team that's quite dangerous from their set pieces. Let's see what they can muster up here. Nakano will deliver the corner. Cross comes in. It's a great ball, but headed away. Here's Scott now, has a look up. Looking for Denton at the far post, headed out, and now maybe United can break. And it looked as though Praiser made a great challenge there. I thought the last touch came off Wells.
It was awfully close.
And Mutton not happy as well, letting the assistant referee here on the near side know exactly what he thinks of that call. We'll give it to Praiser from our viewpoint, which is perhaps a little bit better than the assistant referees, but it's a good tackle.
May not be the driest seat in the house here, Nicola, but I think we've got the best.
Yeah. Here is De Oliveira now, spreading it wide for Rule, and that one might just get away from Rule. It does. A slippery surface taking the ball out over the sideline. Denton was looking there. Praiser was looking for Spang. Here's Milicevic on the turn. Out comes Brody Denton and claims.
You get the sense, Nicola, that United know that a one-goal lead is just not going to cut it tonight. The way they've been consistently attacking, they've basically kept the same game plan the whole way through, maybe for a slight shift in gear and the press slowing down a little bit, but other than that, it's been a very consistent performance from Ante Juric's side.
Juvela gets that out to Jennings! Saved by Brody Denton. Good save from the Tigers keeper. What an opportunity for United to double the lead there.
What's their best chance other than the goal? Nicola Leroy Jennings in the perfect position you want him to be in, and was just batted away by Denton in goal, and I think Jennings will be thinking about that one a little bit if it may come back to bite him.
And the problem I think here for Sydney United is the longer you keep the Northern Tigers in the game, the harder it's going to be to keep them at bay later on in the game. They're a team that is known for scoring late goals. I mean, last year in the league, I think if you check, they scored in half their games or won in the last 15 minutes of games. And similarly, again here, you just got to ask Franco Parisi
yeah.
and those from Harpia Leichhardt about leaving the Northern Tigers in the game.
Yeah, 2 goals in the last 10 minutes of that one, and a miraculous comeback from being 2-1 down just when you thought a side like Harpia was going to close it out. And United no doubt wary.
Cross comes in, Praiser's there to block it and clear away. Rose try to head that on. Denton may get there first. He does, but too strong there once more. Milicevic. Wells. Chipped over the top, headed away by Green, but only as far as Milicevic. Back for Wells. Searching for that switch ball. Rose read it, but Chabot comes across, and again, United come away with the ball. Here's Chabal, back for De Oliveira. Juvela, De Oliveira, that was some nice football from United. And spaying out muscle there by Mario Chabal. De Oliveira for Bailey Rule. And Wells takes on Green. Good tackle from Nakano.
Tigers will feel like they're still in this. Yes, it's been a difficult half, but they're within touching distance. It's only a one-goal lead, as you said, Nicola, and they've showed flashes of the final third. The key is, I think, tightening things up defensively and trying to plug some of the holes that United have exploited so far. United are probably considering themselves unlucky not to be up by more than one at this stage.
There's good strength from Spain. The Tigers wanted a foul, but it didn't come. This is a time of the game where the Tigers need to stay disciplined. They need to ensure they don't concede. We're coming up to stoppage time now. And Brown can't control that. I said he needs to get into the game more. He's a key figure in this Northern Tigers lineup. And here's Vlastelica as the fourth official raises the board. There'll be 1 minute of additional time and maybe a minute enough for the Tigers to create something, but Matt Hatch will go into the book here. Foul on Connor Rose, and it looked as though the Tigers could have been off there.
Yeah, I don't think Matt Hatch could have too many complaints about that, and the Tigers for a brief moment were flashing forward, and Hatch was wary of that fact. And now they've got a bit of a last effort here before we head into the sheds.
And I mean, Nakano's delivery moments ago from that corner was quite good, and again, he gets another opportunity now. Decides to leave it and picks it up short. United caught napping for a moment. Nakano, this could be a wasted chance here for the Tigers. Lifted back into the box though now. And perhaps got a touch there. It didn't. Goal kick. And that should see us through to the half-time whistle now. As Janjetovic jogs over to pick the ball up. And there won't even be time for the goal kick. It's half-time in the Waratah Cup Grand Final. Sydney United lead against the Northern Tigers by 1-0. Luke Juvela scoring in the 7th minute to open the scoring in this wet and wild final. Will, what have you seen in the first half? What's caught your eye, and what can the Northern Tigers in particular do a little better in the second half?
Well, I think the scoreline tells a story. United have definitely dominated this game. As mentioned, they've had a couple of chances. Jennings in particular. Juvela himself had another half-decent look as well. So they'll be feeling like if they can keep generating this volume of chances that a second goal could be on the way. And I think that's what the Tigers will be talking about at the break is, okay, yes, they've had their opportunities at times in the final third, but to be conceding some of the opportunities they have down the other end, they'll be wary of a second, and a 2-goal deficit with the lack of possession that the Tigers have might be too difficult to overcome, even with 45 minutes.
And we saw that the United press in the first half was working wonders. Can they keep that up in the second 45?
I think they can, because I think it's been sustainable. They haven't just been running full sprint at the Tigers, for 45 minutes. They've been picking their moments. They've given the Tigers possession in certain areas that they're happy to let them have it. And then when they recognize that, hey, this could be a good time to try and create some problems, that's when they start going and their pressing triggers activate. So all in all, I think a good performance by Ante Juric's side. Yes, they'll be, I think, cautious still, but that second goal is going to be crucial.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Nicola Posdet and Will Constantinides here with you in this enthralling Waratah Cup final. It's half-time at the moment. Sydney United 58-1, the Northern Tigers 0.
I'm going to stand down here just so that we have space. This area here
screenshot of the stats.
Oh, yeah.
I think they had more than one shot.
to the second half here at Valentine Sports Park. And it's Sydney United that lead in the Waratah Cup Grand Final by 1-0. Luke Juvela, the scorer of the only goal so far, coming in the 7th minute. Some excellent work down the right from Sydney United. Saw Mason Wells play a pass through for Juvela, who finished when we had a half-time substitution as well. Double substitution, in fact. I think it's the Northern Tigers that have taken off Jonathan Green. Oliver Franz coming on. And Taliesin Dorigo also coming in. Going on for, I believe it's Jakub Prajza. It looks as though it's a formation change as well for the Northern Tigers, Will.
Yeah, it looks like they're setting up more in two banks of four to start, although we did see them look at that shape a couple of times with Spang and Denton so high together, but I think they've recognised that they need to move the magnets a little bit and find a way back into the contest. Special
mention to Deploy, who are the official ball sponsor of the 2025 Waratah Cup. And Football New South Wales would like to sincerely thank them for their support once again. As De Oliveira comes away with the ball, Cole Mutton there, taken out by the sniper. Makes his way back to his feet though, just in time before the ball could be played in behind.
Well, the wet has set into the pitch over the 15-minute break. You can see it's a little bit soggier now, and I mean, viewers at home may not be getting the full impression of it, but it's definitely a wet old night.
And without a doubt, the rain has also picked up, I think, over the break. As United, an early chance here, again down that right side, ball into the box, but Denton comfortable with the take there. An early release here for Spain, and Vlastelica had to get that right in the wind because Jesse Spang was off there. Bit of intent there from the goalkeeper. Shabao now on the ball for United. Goes back to his captain, Adrian Vlastelica. And what a stalwart he's been for Sydney United. So many years now at the club, so many trophies, so many successes. How important is he to the DNA of Sydney United?
Oh, he's critical. I mean, any person who's watched United even for 5 minutes at all over the last few years would tell you that he's so important, his experience, his composure, but I think also his playing style. I mean, his ability to play out from the back is so important. So often you'll see him ping a crossfield pass out to their wingers. They haven't needed him to do that because, to be honest, him and Glassick haven't seen that much of the ball at their own feet. They've been playing so high up the pitch.
He's Mutton in possession. And we can already notice that the press is perhaps not as intense as it was in the first half from United. We spoke about, can they keep it going for the 90? It looks as though they may change tactic there too.
Yeah, I think it would be unwise to just fully sit off and try and, pack it in and defend a 1-0 lead. Especially
touch taken forward here by Lloyd. Cross comes in. It's a low ball, dangerous low ball, cleared away by Glassick. Scott back for Mutton. And the Tigers do line up as a 4-4-2, but quickly their back line changes into a 3, and the left and right back push higher and wider, and creating a 5 across the middle.
So there's extra numbers getting forward, which is so important for them to counteract this midfield 3 of United.
Well, we spoke about that, didn't we, earlier on, how important it is for them to get more players forward. And here's Spang now in the area. Spang has a go, but a wasted effort. But still, I think that's encouraging for the Northern Tigers.
Good signs for sure, Nicola. I mean, again, it's winning the ball higher up the pitch, something that we haven't seen too much of the Tigers in this game, and well, if those opportunities are going to present themselves, the next step is just trying to force Janjetovic into a meaningful save.
Well, Janjetovic has had almost the whole year off, called back into action after Tristan Prendergast had to have surgery on the shoulder. Young keeper Josip Orlovic then sent off a couple weeks ago and receiving a suspension, and left United quite short in the goalkeeping stocks. And who do we call? We call on the veteran Janjetovic, to come and stand between the sticks.
It's a handy number to have saved in the old directory. And he's got a big role to play as well. I mean, this is a United side that is right in the mix. I mean, finals football is still a question for them at this stage, and he's come in, and his second game is a Waratah Cup final, so he's been a bit of a baptism of fire for someone who's no stranger to big stages.
Not bad sitting on your couch for a year and then coming in and picking up a trophy a couple of days later, as United look to really hammer that down with a second goal here. Cleared away. He's kept quite fit, has Janjetovic, has his own gym as well out in Gregory Hills, obviously working very hard, ensuring his body's up to it when called upon, as United have.
When you look at his story and the injuries that he has gone through, the fact he's playing in this game is such a big story in and of itself.
Absolutely. As here he is on the ball now, playing it wide here for Hatch. Heavy touch from Hatch, but not a lot of pressure on him. Almost giving the pass away there, but it's worked out, and United might feel they can create something, but that pass slightly off the mark. And I think that wet pitch and the heavier pitch now might start to play a role on this one.
And I think it could favour the Tigers, actually, Nicola, because of this style that they're being forced to play by United, where they have to defend and then break. I mean, those long balls are going to get an extra bit of zip on them, potentially cause problems for defenders, maybe get a bit further down the pitch into space where their pacey players up front can try and run into.
Chabal plays it central for Jouvela, whose pass should get cut out here. It does. Here's Brown. It's a challenge from behind there, but adjudged to have won all ball, Mason Wells. Oliver Franz getting his first touch of the game since coming off the bench. I thought Green was decent enough, but obviously it's a part of the pitch where the Tigers were getting dominated somewhat. Everything was coming down United's right side, Northern Tigers left, so perhaps the coaching staff of the Tigers decided they needed to freshen things up down that side.
Yeah, in a cup final like this, you have to make changes that maybe you wouldn't usually make because of the significance of the game, and with the way Tigers were playing, I mean, they had to do something. They had to make a big change at break to try and unsettle United's rhythm.
And Brown plays it out wide now. Got some numbers forward to the Northern Tigers. Here's Dorigo with his first touch. And it's one that he wants back. Luckily for him, United gave the ball straight away to the opponent themselves. And they've given it away again. Lots of errors creeping into both teams at the start of this second half. Hatch back for Vlastelica. De Oliveira. Hatch goes forward and finds the feet of Jennings. And you can hear the calls to turn and face forward. United really know that they need to get this second goal as soon as possible.
They do, because the longer it stays at 1-0, yes, the Tigers are defending so much, but once we tick over to 70, 75, 80 minutes, that's when I think the game state will take over and United might just sit back almost subconsciously, and then that's when the Tigers might look at something. But what I've been impressed with is Carlos de Oliveira. He's playing this number 6 role, a role that we don't see him in too much.
It's a good ball in. That was testing there for Denton and had to come out. Jouvela, as we said, got a bit of height on him himself, putting his body about. Vlastelica strong there under that one. Heads it down for Rose. Forward pass for Spain. Vlastelica has to deal with that. Almost manages to find Matt Hatch. Headed away now by Jennings. Again, though, they get another long throw, and again from this side where the wind's pushing the ball in the wrong direction. A couple of weeks ago, they scored from a similar area, but obviously the wind will play havoc here.
Could play havoc on both ends. It could hold up a little bit.
And Denton sends it long. It's a better throw. They might get a quarter from this. And a judge to have come off a Northern Tigers head last. Get the goal kick to Sydney United. And we've played 10 minutes now in the first half here. What's different from this opening to the first half?
I think the Tigers have shown us something different, both in their structure and their intent. They've gotten forward a little bit. I think United haven't pressed as much, and as I say that, they've tried to press, but this time Tigers have successfully played out. So a little more even, I would say, but I mean, we thought that about the first 5 minutes, and then Juvola went down and converted the first chance of the game. So it's been a hard game to get a grip on outside of the general trend, which is that United have just shown their class.
Again, a team that's used to winning. They've won so much in the League One competition, top of the table. Suffered defeat on the weekend to the Newcastle Jets, but they're used to winning, so that will no doubt come into effect for them at some point in this game, and they'll feel the confidence that they can go on and grab something and try and get themselves back in the game as well. I think that's super important for them.
I will make a brief note, which is something we haven't spoken about yet, but these teams did meet in the early rounds of the Australia Cup 2 years ago, and that one went to extra time. I'll just plop that in there, and we'll see.
I do think there was a special goal scored late on in that one that sealed United's passage through it. As they're in the area here now, the Tigers. Ball popping around, and Rose picks it up. Oh, he saw the run. Denton made the run centrally. Rose thought he was going to stay out wide, but again, better field position definitely from the Northern Tigers at this point of the game. Encouraging signs. Coach Het obviously overseas, unavailable here today in the United States, doing some course for work, as watching intently, no doubt, Jesse Spang getting into the area, almost breaking for Spang there. Now Nakano clips it back in, but that's poor, intercepted, and United now can try and break through Juvela. He's got support coming from Jennings, but he's unable to keep that in.
For a very brief moment there, United were a straight 3-on-3 if they were able to keep it in. But again, it's more positive sides from the Tigers. It's just all about getting the ball into areas that United haven't been tested yet. And to be honest, we haven't seen United's defence under heavy pressure. And so I'm interested to see what a spell of 5-10 minutes of consistent threats from the Northern Tigers looks like.
Well, you're in a final, perhaps some of these players once in a lifetime, and in a Waratah Cup final once in a lifetime. So you've got nothing to lose in the last, we'll say, 20 minutes of this one. I'm sure they'll go all guns blazing. And I did do the Sydney United game against Granville Rage that qualified United for the round of 32. And I tell you what, in that game, the Rage was given one or two golden chances, and I'm sure an opportunity or two will present themselves for the Northern Tigers, but definitely not with delivery like that, as that one goes straight out for a goal kick.
I'm also interested to see how long it is before Ante Juric looks at his bench and decides that maybe he needs to change something. So far, I think I definitely wouldn't change the midfield. I think that's doing a fantastic job. Maybe later in the game, if they want to go to a more defensively solid midfield three, they can look at something like that. But as for now, I think the mantra will be for him and his staff, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I've got no doubt that Mario Chabal is one that generally comes off. You said as well yourself, he started a number of games but comes off the bench a lot as well. So he's probably one that he would look to substitute. Probably Stephen Derabillard coming on in his place, offering some fresh legs. Another player who comes on and can score, has scored already this season on a number of occasions. Ball played forward for Spang, and that was nice from Jesse Spang. Here's Lloyd. Back for Mutton. And definitely the field much, much heavier now. You can see the ball holding up somewhat as well. The amount of rain that we've had in the last hour or so. The field was quite dry prior to kickoff walking on it, but now it's really copped a beating.
And you can hear some of it as well, Nicola. Sometimes when they're over on this side of the pitch, those soggy footsteps.
Here's Brown looking for an option. Back for Lloyd. His cross is blocked by Jennings. I have to admit that United's been desperately defending in a number of occasions so far. Lloyd just keeps that in.
Just takes one chance for the Tigers. That's all they need.
Cross blocked there by De Oliveira. Nakano slips over there. And this could allow United an opportunity through Chabot. Juvela forward, as is Wells now, but they've managed to get back quickly in transition, the Northern Tigers. Chabot once more. Ball played forward, blocked. Chabot gets it back. Playing a bit of keep ball on that far side. Now Vlasic. Vlastelica. Did well to keep the ball, United.
This is one thing they've done really well. Ante Jurich's side. They've been able to shift the Tigers around, and they're looking to get to their wings. They've gone from right side to left side. Now they're heading back to the right. I mean, this is just great football so far.
Good ball forward, but cut out there. And, we speak about players that have made a difference in this game, and the obvious ones are Mason Wells and Juvela, but this man on the ball now has had a phenomenal game. He's really orchestrated the midfield, made some important challenges. I think he's been one of the best in the park for Sydney United so far.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you there, Nicola, especially because of the role he's playing. We're so used to seeing him in the attacking third. Now he's playing as like that pivot in midfield and distributing the ball, which is what he does so well, but usually it's in the attacking sense. Now he's just keeping things moving and using Sydney United's dominance in possession to their advantage.
Throw in for the Northern Tigers. Spang heads it on only as far as Vlastelica. Chabot spreading the ball wide now. And Bailey Rule has a bit of space to expose. But the pass from Juvela is off, and he might be another that Juric looks to go to the bench to. He has Alessandro Lacalandra sitting in the wings, and Lacalandra, a player that burst onto the scene a couple years ago, and we've really failed to see him get going. Someone that has a lot of potential. It'll be interesting to see if he gets some minutes in the Cup final.
Well, he was on the bench, Nicola, in the 2023 Waratah Cup final that United won. He was on the bench as a 17-year-old in that game. He did come on as well. So he has played the super sub role at times over the last couple of seasons, and he's been a reliable goal scorer.
And we'll put another thing out into the hemisphere or atmosphere. The last time Sydney United played against a League One side or an NPL 2 side, however you want to call it, was against the Northwest Sydney Spirit. On that occasion, David Perkovic's team went home with the trophy. At the moment, doesn't seem as though things are heading that way, but definitely potential for United to slip up against a lower league opponent. There's a big challenge there from De Oliveira. He's made a few tackles as well that have left their mark, no doubt.
Good old cup final action, Nicola. Let the boys play.
Absolutely. And Choice has done a good job of the game so far. Let it flow. Haven't been too many stoppages. And United will sportingly return the ball to the Northern Tigers here. Scott went down after the challenge from De Oliveira. And Vlastelica plays the ball back. Gets a pat on the back as well from Ivica Čović. Good sportsmanship, says the referee. Denton now on the ball. Mutton plays it wide. Nakano for Dorigo. And look at the press there from Chabot. He's looking for his teammates to see where they are. He was pressing on his own, and he's not happy because they've been given a bit of space here, the Tigers, but unable to find that wide pass. And you expect this to happen. You expect United to, as the game goes on, to sit deeper and deeper and allow the Tigers more space. And that's what the Tigers like, though. They like when you're congested at the back with a little space to play with, because that's where they come to life and they can really get the ball moving in those small areas.
Yeah, it's definitely playing into their hands at the moment. They've got a good free kick now. Potentially an opportunity to try and work something into the box. I mean, they've had a couple of siders so far, but still Janjetovic, they haven't needed all of his extensive experience just yet. It was just a throw.
And come away from a tight area there, and Juvela now can switch play with Jennings making the forward run, as does Hatch here from left back. Options coming. Hatch plays the central ball. Good challenge, though, from Nakano. And now can the Tigers break on their own? Nakano does well. Look at the space here for Rose, but Nakano getting too tricky again. And he's done that on a couple occasions now. Gets too excited, a little too cute, and gives away possession when the run from Rose was absolutely on.
It was, and again, it's just winning the ball in a good area, and that's what can be the start of good things for the Northern Tigers. But it looks like Ante Juric has a double sub waiting in the wings.
We'll see how he freshens things up. We said that it was always going to be hard to keep the press up for 90 minutes, and the press has definitely died off somewhat.
For sure.
And something that he may want to reinvigorate for his side in this latter stages. Maybe listening to us in the background and feeling that his side is dropping back a little deeper, needs them to step up a little higher.
And even when they have pressed at times in the club, I mean, that Chabal example was the perfect illustration of it. They haven't been as organised, they haven't been as together, and it's seen the Tigers get into positions like this.
It's a good chance if, and they're lucky that they didn't get the foul against them. I thought that was definitely a foul on Glasic there, but Ivica said play on.
So here comes that double sub.
And Franz getting involved in a forward position there. He needs to make more of those runs. It's Juvela that's coming off, clapping the City United support base.
Lacalandra replacing him.
It is Alessandro Lacalandra comes in to replace Juvela. I missed the second change.
I think Mason Wells is off.
Cross comes in toward Denton. Janjetovic forced into a save. Glasic heads away. The pressure's still on, though. Off the head there, claims a handball, but definitely off the head. United needs to get out of this tight area now. Poor clearance. Spain picks it up. Falls for Lloyd. Back out to Dorigo. Franz, it's a good ball in the box, and Denton almost got there in the end. Janjetovic grasps that. They've given it away once more. Rose goes for a goal, and he's absolutely butchered that effort. Should have done so much better there. And look at Vlastelica letting Hatch know and his teammates know it's not good enough. And I think there's a problem here for Janjetovic. This won't be good for United.
Well, this is going to make things really interesting now. And yes, those are golden opportunities for the Tigers, but they cannot get disheartened by them. They have to push on because they've shown that they can turn United around and that United are capable of making a couple of errors at the back. And now with Janjetovic, potentially a bit of a question here. I mean, as we've said, it's only his second game back from a long layoff, which we thought was retirement. And this is going to make things potentially a bit nervy down on the United bench.
And it looks as though it's the shoulder, and that's a major, major problem. Yeah. If it's the shoulder, this could be the end of the game for Vedran Janjetovic. We know the problems he's had with that. And
it's that left side as well, I think, which is
the problem side. And he'd know immediately if it's a problem.
I'm just keeping a watchful eye over the United bench to see if they get the signal.
He might continue here, though.
Yeah, he looks like he's up and about, but I think if you're the Northern Tigers, you have to be aware of this. I think, honestly, the stoppage is almost like a timeout for United because the Tigers had them on the ropes for the last 5 minutes or so, And
He's had to take some painkillers there as well, Janjetovic.
Oh, this is...
If I'm a Northern Tigers striker right now, Kai Denton, I'm going for a shot as soon as the opportunity presents itself.
And that's the thing, Nicola, they haven't really forced him into a big save. They've had a couple of decent looks that have gone wayward. He collected that cross just a moment ago. So if they can start putting this United defence into more uncomfortable positions. And
he's grabbed at the shoulder again after sending that kick. He's not in a good state. I think they might have to substitute him soon enough. It's Stephen Derrobillard that came on for Sydney United in place of Mason Wells.
That's an interesting subs, Nicola, because for my thoughts, Juvola and Wells were doing very well, and pardon the pun, but you know, I think it's an interesting change.
Well, I can't say I'm too surprised by the Juvola substitution, but I definitely am by the Wells one. And they've let that ball roll there across goal, and Derrobillard almost showing us why he was brought on. Bailey Rule now, looking to cross into the area. Chabal hangs back, picks the ball up, combines with Milicevic, gets it back again, Chabal. And Denton comfortably holds.
Credit to Franz at the back post. I mean, he had to get his feet sorted out. He was slipping around that ball, and he had to quickly readjust, make sure that the clearance was good enough to get it away. But now it's starting to really open up.
And Spain goes down after the challenge from Vlastelica, but De Oliveira drives through midfield. Now Jennings on the edge of the area. Leroy Jennings cuts to the left and has his shot blocked once more. I'd love to see at full time how many block shots Leroy Jennings has.
That's, I think, 3 now by my count, but he's been so dangerous. He's definitely deserved a goal for his endeavours. And now they've got corner here, which they won't necessarily be in a hurry to take. It's not quite that time of the game just yet, but we're getting to that stage very soon.
An opportunity now for United to put Denton under some extended pressure here with a corner. Haven't had too many of these opportunities in the second half. Cross comes in and punched away by Denton. We'll come back again. Milicevic with a effort that ends up going out for a throw-in. Closer to the right corner flag, that effort from Adam Milicevic, and I think he'll want to forget that as soon as possible.
Yeah, not the best end to the attack, but I think we're poised for a very good last 20 minutes here, Nicola.
And Dorigo just manages to get that out. Brown finds the feet of Spang. He wasn't the intended target, but they won't care. And Spang can't find the pass. Lloyd makes the foul on Jennings. Tigers faithful unhappy with that, and they're letting their voices be heard.
Well, they've come out in good numbers, and
in fairness, they've even outvoiced the United faithful, who, you know, we're generally used to making a bit of noise, but they're louder out there, that's for sure. We've heard them on more occasions.
Well, if there's one thing that the NPL has taught me over the years, it is never underestimate how loud a SAP side can get.
Absolutely. If you've been to Lambert Park for a women's game, you know exactly what we're talking about. The game just breaking up here, which really does help United. More so than the Northern Tigers. Here's Denton looking to feed through Spang, but the pass is off. Vlastelica sends it forward. Dealt with, but not ideally. Still, the Tigers managed to keep possession as Dorigo slips over in midfield. Now Milicevic driving through again. Jennings picks it up on the left-hand side. It comes back to him once more. De Oliveira of the shot gets blocked there. Good challenge there from the Tigers, and Spang manages to come away with it. Or does he? It does. Outmuscles Chabal this time. First half shoulder to shoulder still in Jesse Spang's memory, no doubt. Here's Mutton. And now some space for Lockie Lloyd here. Not many options though. The space was there. The options not so much. Forced to go back again. Scott trying to assess his options and where the best pass would be to play. We've got a bit of reprieve in the weather. The rain has stopped, finally.
But it's interesting now because this is a pattern of play that we haven't really seen until this point, which is the Tigers just holding the ball, United seemingly letting them have it.
And again, every time they come forward into that final third, Adrian Vlastelica strong in the challenge. There's Ryan Attard now coming on in place of Rose. And Ryan Attard, a very, very technical player who has great feet and could really make a difference.
And they've reshuffled things as well.
And Lloyd's gone out to the left now.
Franz has come over to the right.
And Attard operating in that number 10 role that he feels most comfortable in as Derobillard starts the counter here. Chabot now feeds him through. And Derobillard trying to beat Scott for pace, but good defending. And Hatch there does well to hold off Spang. Wins the throw for his team. And Mutton there almost getting caught. Brody Denton, heavy touch. Gets away with that. And Kai Denton comes away with the ball now. Here's Spang. Can the Northern Tigers create something? And they'll get a corner. They'll take that.
And this is on that magical far side, Nicola, with the wind at your back. This is where something could potentially happen, but again, it's just more attacking impetus going forward for the Northern Tigers.
Well, we're inside the final 15 minutes here, Will, and it's now or never really for the Tigers, and I think that Attard change was key indicator for that. The corner comes in toward Denton at that far post. He's unmarked, back across goal, and headed clear by Glasic. And you notice there, Vedran Janjetic did not come off his line to try and claim that.
Yeah, I'm curious with the Tigers whether the intent was the back post or maybe they were looking to put it on Janjetovic and the wind just carried it that extra bit forward.
Well, the wind is coming from that part of the field, so it would have helped the ball on. Long throw comes in. Not cleared away completely yet. Here's Hatch. Plays it forward and clears the danger. This is where the Tigers want United at the moment. They want them pegged back in their half. They want to take more control. They need to take more control of this game.
And to their credit, Nicola, they have been this last 10 minutes. I mean, I think it's fair to say the Tigers have probably had either an equal amount, if not more possession than United. And this is the type of game now where a side like United, despite their quality, is going to, slip back into defending what they have. And that will invite the Tigers into areas that they'll want to be in.
Throw now for the Northern Tigers. Attard plays it back. And Lloyd can't keep the ball in. It'll be a throw now to Sydney United on the far side. Lakalandra, the intended target. Attard.
I think, Nicola, the next changes for both coaches are going to have to be spot on because the game is hanging in the balance right now.
Absolutely, and there's a great touch there from Brown. But force back is Spang. He gets the ball back though. Facing forward now. Out to the left wing. Pass gets back for Brown. Ball across goal and it'll be another corner. This is the pressure we were talking about that will come from the Northern Tigers. Sydney United, as you said, subconsciously are just sitting back deeper and deeper. And now with players like Attard on the field that love to play in small spaces, things can start to happen for the Northern Tigers.
Yeah, they've done well here, the Tigers. They've bided their time. They've gotten to a stage in the game where in a cup final, late doors, anything can happen. They've got a set piece. Let's see what they do with it.
And Nakano will deliver the corner. In-swinger with the left foot. Cross comes in again to the far post. This time evading everyone. Not even Denton can get it back in, but he does have possession of it. Denton against Glassick. Cross comes in. Great ball towards Spang, but cleared by who else? Carlos de Oliveira. And now United may be able to break here, but couldn't bring that ball under control. And Mutton finding Franz. Forward for Spang. Does well to hold the ball up. It's a real heavy part of the pitch there, but he's done well to find Lloyd. Lloyd gets his head up. Cross is a little too far. And again there, Janjetovic not convincing. Thought of coming, but decided against it. And now the Tigers need to box United up here inside this part of their own half.
Credit to Jesse Spain just a moment ago. The way he was able to get out of that two-man press and find Lloyd further up the pitch was extremely impressive. And they're going to need some of that creativity to bust through this United defence.
In particular in this part of the pitch where it's closest to us, that's where it seems as though the water's really sitting at the moment. As Hatch now comes forward. Can't find a teammate, but neither can the Tigers as Glassick picks up the loose ball. Vlastelica back for De Oliveira. Vlastelica forced to go all the way back to Janjetovic. No foul. Play on. The Tigers have the ball anyway, so they won't care too much, but they've given it away cheaply once more. Mutton all the way back to Brody Denton. Scott wide for Franz. Again, Spang having to hold up Hatch. Didn't look like he had a lot of space to work in, but Dorigo finds the pass for Attard. Now Brown, Nakano making the overlapping run, and that's where the ball goes. Got a sweet left foot, does Nakano. Attard loses control though. And Dero Billard now can lead a counter for United, and that's a somewhat unnecessary challenge, you have to say, from the substitute.
Yeah, the Tigers will feel like that was a soft foul, but it's a foul nonetheless, and with a counter-attack brewing, it's always going to be a yellow card in that situation. But even more important for United is they get to slow the ball down and move it away from their own goal as we're approaching the final 10 minutes of this game.
And I think in that situation you could see Dero Billard was waiting and baiting Dorigo to make the foul, which he did in the end, and a little bit of inexperience perhaps there. That'll go out for a goal kick for the Northern Tigers. Time is of the essence now.
Yeah, 8 minutes of regulation time to go. You'd think we'll have a decent amount of stoppage time because of all the extra subs, Janjetovic, his treatment as well, so we're not going anywhere just yet.
Can the Northern Tigers send this to an extra 30 minutes, or will United claim their 8th Waratah Cup title? And easily down there went Leroy Jennings. He may have hurt himself, but it wasn't because of the challenge from Scott.
Yeah, I think he's landed awkwardly here in the process of either going down or before. I think, as mentioned, it's a pitch that's going to not necessarily hold up as much.
I think Jennings has had some issues with his knees in the past, so he'll be very eager to make sure this isn't a serious injury for him.
The Tigers will feel as if they're milking it, but I think, judging from the way he went down, it seemed like there was at least a little something to be concerned of. But even then, it's all going to be tacked on at the end. I think we're looking at least 4 or 5 potentially here, Nicola. And the just testing out that knee of Jennings.
She's testing for the ACL as well, so this could be worrying signs for Leroy Jennings and for Juric. He says Vlastelica giving Juric the thumbs up that Jennings is good to continue. And Lockie Lloyd giving him a helping hand. And they'll make a change. United. And that may be Jennings's evening done. It is. He'll be replaced by Bashir Alameddine. Starting the season in the City United 20s and getting a gig now in the Cup final.
I think it's actually Pratazina, I think they've just said, which is a good like-for-like swap to have. But I think, sadly for Jennings, I mean, his night ends without a goal. He was so close, but especially with potentially how this game is shaping up, they would have felt much more comfortable with a 2-0 advantage.
You're right, it is Michael Pratazina that's come on. My mistake there. Replacing Jennings. He was lively, involved in a lot for United, but as you said, missing that goal to add to a solid performance. And De Oliveira sends this one forward.
That's the first time he's played a looping clearance like that. That's how good his passing has been. And now it's just all about anywhere will do.
Throw taken toward Denton. You feel as though the Tigers may get one more chance, and if they do, it has to be the one that finds them the goal.
They've come close. They've had a few decent looks. They've flashed a couple wide, but it just takes one on target, and
Chabal.
What was working.
Well read there by Scott. Denton wants the ball played out wide left, but they know where the danger is, Sydney United, and they're ensuring that he's not given too much space. Franz looking for an option. Goes to Attard. Tries to turn away from Pratazina, but cleared away by Hatch. And now Lakalandra battling away against two Tigers defenders. In the end, losing out there as Denton sends that one higher than he did further away. Header won by Nakano, but only as far as Chabal. And how about that for a ball from Chabal? Pass comes in now for Dera Billard. And it goes, well, it's still in play. He's kept it in somehow. And Bailey Rule now gets his head up. Bailey Rule bursts into the box, and Rule inches away from settling that for Sydney United. And it wasn't a bad run from Bailey Rule at all.
It wasn't bad at all, and I was half expecting the side netting to bulge out there with how well he caught that Bailey Rule. That could have been the Waratah Cup signed, sealed and delivered going back to Adensa Park, and the Sydney United supporters know it, that they're not far away.
It's taken them a little bit of time. I haven't really heard them tonight. I'm a bit disappointed with their display. Found their voices quite late on though. Here's Nakano. Good turn. Mutton square for Scott. Oh, it's a bad tackle there from Pratazina straight through the back of Nakano. He did win a lot of the ball as well, but it was a dangerous challenge coming in from behind.
Yeah, I think on a pitch like this, when it's wet, when it's slippery, when it's sliding, those are always going to look a little bit worse. You have to be very careful going to ground, and I think he's maybe half lucky not to have been booked for that challenge, but nevertheless play continues, and United have stuck all 11 behind the ball.
There's 90 seconds remaining of normal time. Ball goes in and it'll bounce through to Janjetovic. It'll waste a few more precious seconds for the Northern Tigers. Time they can't get back. Janjetovic's experience there, waiting for the last moment to send his kick long. All the way back to Denton, who's under pressure from Dara Billard and just gets it out to Mutton. Nakano with a neat turn. Can't find the feet of Lloyd, though. And De Oliveira again picking up a loose ball. He's done that so often tonight. Really been a standout for Sydney United.
All eyes turning to the fourth official. The board is about to go up.
Here's Lloyd. Nakano runs forward. Denton spreads it wide. Is this the chance? Ball to the back post. Franz can't get a head on it, and it'll go out for a throw. Manages to keep it in, though, and in fact, it was worked out better for United. Here's Lloyd now. Good defending from De Oliveira again, and strong there in the challenge with Lloyd. It comes away with the ball as well, and clips it forward for Dara Billard. Will United settle it now, and Lacalandra's run offside. The flag will be raised. As will the fourth officials board to indicate how much time will be added. 6 minutes of time added on.
And the boos go up from the Sydney United supporters. But in all fairness, Nicola, we've had plenty of stoppages, and with the extra added time off the clock by United these last 5 minutes or so, I think it's definitely fair.
Well, that'll be encouraging for the Tigers as well. It'll give them a little bit more energy to push in these final moments. And Denton manages to keep it in. He'll want to try and win at least a corner here. Have to settle for a throw-in. And this is the side where he'll have the wind behind his back now. And he hasn't had an opportunity to take a throw from this end all game. Is this the moment the Northern Tigers find the equaliser? Denton goes long. Janjetovic stays, headed away by Glasic. And last touch coming off Franz.
The tricky thing is, as good as the Tigers are on set pieces, you look at who's defending for United. Vlastelica and Glasic, two of the tallest, most comfortable in the air centre backs in the NPL. It's going to be very difficult to beat them in the air, even in these late stages.
United get the throw. Bailey Rule on the far side, forcing the touch off Attard. They'll go to the bench for one final change, the Northern Tigers. Their final throw of the dice in this game. This will be it for them. That change will come now. Scott goes forward. The captain, Lachlan Lloyd, is substituted. And Scott will join Spain in the attack. Lachlan Mills comes on.
All numbers forward here for the Tigers.
Here is Mills with his first touch and sends it forward toward Denton. And last touch there came off Rule. Denton gets a chance to throw in another long ball into the box. And United now making a change. And, well, if I tell you one thing, you do not make a change on a set piece, be that a throw-in, a corner, or a free kick. I think this is a bad move by Ante Juric. As Aiden Militric comes off. He's had a good game as well, has Militric.
Yeah, he's been a big part of why United dominated that first half. Hasn't been as busy in this second period, but nevertheless important.
And now that throw will come as Bashir Alameddine comes on. Flicked on header and into the hands of Janjetovic. It was Scott that got the flick on. And Janjetovic clutches that gratefully. And now releases Hatch. 2.5 minutes remain. Great touch by Shabao. I thought there was a foul there. And they can't get that under control, Dorigo. Attard snapping at the heels of De Oliveira, who gets it out now to Shabao. De Oliveira gets it back. Cleared forward. Can the Tigers get one last opportunity? And Spain throws everything at that, but can't keep it in. They've worked so hard, in particular, Denton and Spain. They've put every last little bit of atom of energy that they had into this game, but they just haven't been able to break down United.
They've had to work off scraps. There might still be a little bit left, but with the ball in this position, this is only going to favour United even more.
And Vlastelica calling for Lakalandra to get into the corner and hold the ball up. Still haven't heard the SUS either, have we? And they're minutes away from winning another title. Still can't hear him sing, Will.
Well, they'll be singing very loud, no doubt shortly. The 8th State Cup is just one hand on it for them right now. I mean, the 12th final.
There they are. They've pinched the ball to the SUS. They're giving it back now, sportingly. Last 60 seconds now. There will be no more time left for the Northern Tigers. They need to create an opportunity now. It's a poor clearance that may allow them in. And Hatch has missed a header too. Franz is working hard to try and get around him, but here's Chabot. Plays a fall for Dara Billard, and there's not many white jerseys back. They're streaming back now, but there's enough red up there too. But again, the ball falls for United, and that should about do it now. And I think that'll be that. With 30 seconds to go, United win a free kick in the Northern Tigers half. Moments away from an 8th Waratah Cup. Another cup triumph for Sydney United. The trophy is headed to Denza Park. Here's Lakalandra in the corner now. Exactly where he and Sydney United want to be. Ivica Trovic has a look at the watch. And that is the full-time whistle here at Valentine Sports Park. Sydney United are the 2025 Waratah Cup champions. They defeat the Northern Tigers by 1-0. Luke Juvela's 7th minute goal, enough to send the trophy back to Adenza Park. And they'll celebrate long into the night. It was a solid performance from United. In the end, they deserved the win. They deserved to take the trophy home. Will, how did you see this final? And what can you comment at full time here?
Well, I think it's a deserved win for United from start to finish. They were the better team. Yes, the Tigers had their patches where they were running home strong, but it was that first half goal. They didn't need the second one, as we may have thought they did. Their defence did well enough. Yes, the Tigers had their periods, but in all honesty, the chances were just not as high of a volume as they were for United. But for United as well, this is a historic feat. Not just a 12th Cup final, not just an 8th Waratah Cup win, but they now clear Hakoah as the side that has won the most knockout cups in this state. They've truly crowned themselves the kings of the cup here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stick with us now for the trophy presentation. But from me and Will Constantinides, it is good night from Valentine Sports Park. Sydney United, the 2025 Waratah Cup champions.
in New South Wales. To all the supporters of both teams, thank you for your attendance here today and for being part of this historic day of football. On with the presentations. Assisting with today's presentations, please welcome Football New South Wales Director Ian Holmes, Football New South Wales Deputy Chair Deborah Chapman, and Football New South Wales CEO John Satsimas. Firstly, let's show our gratitude to today's game officials for playing an integral role in the Cup final. Referee Ivica Trovic. Assistant referee Amber Morris. Matthew Harris. And fourth official Eric Saba. And thank you Deborah Chapman for assisting with the presentations. Well done to our officials. Round of applause please for our officials. Now if I can call up please Ian Holmes to present the player of the match. So many fantastic players have taken out this honour throughout the years in what stands as one of the country's most historic cup competitions. With the assistance of our very own Football New South Wales journalists, the winner of the 2025 Player of the Match is from Sydney United, Carlos Delgado! Everyone says you're a really good speaker, mate, so talk us through a fantastic performance from you. You battled hard in the midfield. Bit of a different role for you, but well done.
Yeah, look, we knew that it was going to be a tough game when we came into it. I think the boys, it's just my mate's giving it to me. The boys knew that it was going to be a tough game, so we came in no matter what. Like, I think we saw in the game, every single one of us, we stood by each other. If one person made a tackle, the next person was there to clean up the ball, so it was just mentality at the end of the day, I think.
Round of applause please for our man of the match, Carlos Delgado. Ian, you're not done, mate. Now to our runners-up. Can I please ask the Northern Tigers captain, Lachlan Lloyd, to say a few words and call up his team for their medals.
First of all, congratulations to United. Very well deserved victory tonight. You're a very prestigious club and you're exactly where we're trying to get, so continue to set the standard. Congratulations on another trophy. To Football New South Wales, thank you for organising the Waratah Cup. First time we've been here, we've truly loved it. Hopefully we'll be back for years to come. And finally to my boys, unlucky tonight, we fought really well in that second half and almost deserved something, but it wasn't to be. Lucky we get it again in 3 weeks' time. To our fans, thank you for coming out, we really appreciate it. We'll see you beautiful North Palmyra in the weeks to come. Thank you. John Green. Goya. Ali. Bodie. Kai. Rosie. Ollie Scott. Jesse. Millsy. Tally. Rhino. Holly. Ollie Friends. Jakob. Elliot. Ty. Person staff Dan. Marky. And Luca.
And Lachlan Lloyd, of course. A round of applause for Northern Tigers. Now on to the champions. please welcome Sydney United 58 captain, Adrian Blasmelitsa.
First and foremost, I want to congratulate Lockie and Northern Tigers on a fantastic cup run and a fantastic battle again tonight. Good luck for the rest of your season, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. But yeah, congratulations on that. To our boys, top shift tonight and achievement to get our 8th Waratah Cup for our club and all our amazing fans. For a lot of you, it's your first, so it's special as we're going down in history with the 8th of the club. And yeah, big thank you to our coaching staff, physio, who put up with us and keep us together to come away with something like this, something so important for the club. Practice, Bash, Bailey, Aiden, McGee, Carlos, Javella, Bajina, Ale, Steve, Glass, Wes, Leroy, Hatch, Maz, whoever veterans lighting. Oh, there you are. What else we got? Richie, Mako, Tomo, Jordy, Krilla, Chris. Oh, Yossi. Where's Joey over? On your left, is that you? And the captain, Blasmelitsa.
Everyone, please congratulate the 2025 Football New South Wales Waratah Cup champions, Sydney United 58.
Yeah, one, let's go.
Cheers, Razor. Yeah.